Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Phoenix Podcast with me, Jen Coffey, and with you, the Phoenix, who is rising to where she wants to be, to where you intend to be, to where you're meant to be. And where I'm meant to be right now is in this sunny room here in Zug, Switzerland, where I will be for the next 4.5, 5 weeks. I have been very blessed with God's ring light, a lot of beautiful sunshine coming through these windows. I have one tiny little ring light that I brought with me, and I wondered, was that going to be enough for this? Because I usually have the big soft boxes, and there was no way I was going to pay to ship those overseas. And wouldn't you know it, the universe provided. So I hope I'll be able to hang on to this beautiful weather for the time that I'm here, and if not, we'll make it work. And it has worked in really beautiful ways so far. I've been enjoying some great scenery, some great food, and the incredibly friendly and welcoming people. To my surprise, most everyone speaks English really well. It's been such a relief as I approach people and I go, oh, do you speak English? Because that's the only language I know. And everyone's been really great. So I highly recommend a visit to Switzerland, putting that on your future travel plans. So what are we going to talk about this week? I thought long and hard about it, as I do, honestly, every week. And sometimes they, just kind of come. And sometimes I go within and I think, what do I really want to dig deeper into now that we are several weeks into this podcast and working beyond the very basics of manifestation, of goal setting, of vision boarding. And we're able to kind of peel back the layers of what that process looks like. And as you listened, hopefully last week, we move away into other realms altogether, into more deep dives into feeling and emotion and positive mindset and changed perspectives in a challenging world. Well, I want to bring it back this week to one of the core necessary things that you're going to need to hold on to if you are manifesting and intending a goal. And it all comes back to that mindset. How you can switch your lens so that you see the world in such a way that it invites more abundance into your life. And this is not denying any truth. Instead, switching your lens to see the world as being receptive to abundance is the more accurate way to see the world. And what it does is it removes a number of obstacles between you and what it is that you desire. Be that money, be it a new job, be it a partner, be it health, be it relief from stress and anxiety. When you change your mindset, even in small ways that may not feel big at the time, well, when you make that shift, bigger things shift too. So we begin, of course, with our quote. And our quote comes from Deepak Chopra. This is a gentleman I admire greatly. His words of wisdom and words of scientific fact, when blended together, really provide a holistic understanding of law of attraction that goes beyond thoughts become things, that goes beyond see it and achieve it. But for the sake of our quote, we will boil it down to just a few words. And this week, the quote is, "We see the world through the mirror of our own being." Let's hear it again. We see the world through the mirror of our own being. So really, when you think about it, and if you've been listening since the very beginning, you might recall a very similar quote, the one that I started this podcast journey with, from Dr. Wayne Dyer. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. That's Dr. Wayne. Dr. Chopra. We see the world through the mirror of our own being. Similar but different, yes? Well, let's focus on that similarity. these eyes that see the world, these ears that hear words, that hear news headlines, that hear the words of other people, this body that feels things, that takes on trauma and negative news, all the senses taking in shape the way we view everything outside of us. And when we begin to reprogram those senses to see things as they really are, which in many cases is far better than we used to see them, when we reprogram, great things happen, my friend. And this is not about blind denial of the truth out there, because you can exist in a world that is full of challenges and bad news and bad behavior by other people and still see the beauty and the positivity that exists. The two always exist together. But when you change your focus, what comes to you changes. It really is as simple as that. But most people respond with, well, it's easier said than done. This is a phrase that, and this will be a somewhat negative statement, so forgive me, but that phrase really irks me. Whenever I say something or use a quote and I hear people go, well, that's easier said than done. Of course it is. All the big, challenging, difficult things, they're easier said than done. But you got to start somewhere. And saying it, or hearing it, or believing it, that's where action starts. And so the easy saying of something turns into the challenging doing of something, which can result in exactly what you're trying to achieve. So I'm going to focus on, in this podcast, 10 free, completely cost-free ways that you can accelerate or hit the gas pedal on manifestation. Absolutely. I am happy to recommend to you books that you can buy, audio programs that you can invest in. In a few minutes, I'm going to pitch my own one-on-one coaching to you, and it's really good stuff. But when you start to factor into all of the self-education that you're investing in, the little, frankly, minutia of your day-to-day life that you're going to change, when you put the two together, friends, don't be surprised. In fact, go ahead and be surprised when exactly what you're looking for shows up. So before we dive into, I'm going to do this early this time because once I get to going on these 10 things, I want to keep the momentum going. You know I got to plug something. And what am I going to plug? It's the exact same thing I've been plugging for a few weeks, my one-on-one coaching. And my friends, I've been having a lot of fun with this. Every week, hearing from you, folks are reaching out, sending emails, asking questions, which I appreciate. What does it entail? What does it look like? If you'd love to go beyond just listening to podcasts or reading articles and have a person face-to-face with you asking the questions that are going to help you discover exactly what you want, or if you already know what you want, but you're looking for a more specific path tailored to you and what it is you desire, well, I'm here for you. And our coaching is relaxed, it's easy, it's fun. And don't be surprised if you learn a little bit about yourself on the way. I'll send you a questionnaire that you'll answer. It's an intake form, but not a clinical one, really just some generic questions about you, your background, what it is you're hoping to get out of the session, and what it is you're hoping to get out of life. And after that, you and I will meet for about an hour. We chat, we lay out a blueprint for what it looks like for you to go from where you are to where you intend to be. And hopefully, on the other side, you're more excited than ever about moving toward your goal, knowing that you're not alone in working towards that goal. Because of course, it's not just me helping you out. It's a force far bigger than you and I combined. If you're interested in one-on-one coaching, you've got a big goal ahead of you, and you're just dying to get there, reach out to me. It's Jennifer@jennifercoffey.com. Jennifer@jennifercoffey.com. Just drop me your name and that you're interested in one-on-one coaching, and I'll take it from there. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Okay, are you ready? 10 completely free manifestation accelerators. Now, a lot of these are going to have to do with how you are looking at the world outside of you, which will in turn help internally change the way you feel about your current situation. And changing how you feel about your current situation brings a better future towards you. Let's begin. The first one is actually going to come to us from another gal that I deeply respect and admire, the woman who is responsible for making millions of people aware of the law of attraction, Rhonda Byrne. And in one of her books, she suggests, and I have since applied this and been amazed by how well it works. She suggests assigning to the universe a sign that you, when you see it, will go, ooh, I'm on the right track. In other words, you're not waiting for a coincidence to happen in front of you. You're letting the universe know. You're letting God know. Hey, God, when I see this number, this thing, a reference to this place, when I see it, that's your way of telling me I'm on the right track. A couple that I have are my lucky number, 42. And my daughter and I use 1111 whenever we see 1111. I believe Rhonda Byrne said that she uses flashes of bright light. So if she's outside and like a mirror's reflection gives her bright light, or she's suddenly struck by a beautiful sunset, she'll go, ooh, that's God's way of telling me I'm on the right track. If I see a reference to Colorado, my favorite place in the whole wide world, I'll go, ooh, there's a sign, right? Doesn't work so much when I'm in Colorado because I see that everywhere. But when I'm in Pennsylvania, if I'm here in Switzerland, haven't seen it here yet. But if I see a reference to Colorado or the number 42, or I look at the clock and it's 11:11, I see that as a sign. And you can pick anything you want. And when you see it, well, not only is it kind of your way of having a wink to the universe, it's a reminder to you to get yourself on the right track, to reset your mood if you're feeling kind of negative. You see your sign, maybe it's a bumper sticker for a favorite place that you really are attached to. When you see that, you go, okay, it's time for a reset. How am I feeling right now? Or you could just wink back because it's a reminder that God's got you. All right, number 2. This one is a favorite of mine because I do travel a lot, and because you kind of can only do this when you are in a plane or a car or a train in a situation where you're about to take off, right? So you're about to get in the car and move on the highway. But for me, it feels most powerful when I'm in a plane and the plane is lifting off the runway. Whenever I'm in a plane and we're about to take off, I close my eyes and I imagine my life accelerating toward the goals that I'm intending. But not just that. I also imagine, and this is where it gets a little weird, just humor me and maybe do it. I imagine I'm reaching back and I'm grabbing my daughter's hand, and she grabs my husband's hand, and he grabs his daughter's hand, and we all lift off together. And it's like I'm saying, let's go. And I feel the feeling of myself and all the people that I love and care about moving toward more abundance, more joy, more contentment, more travel, more health. And when you feel that inside of you and you feel the plane taking off at the same time, I tell you, it's like it washes clean all the emotions that you have in that moment, and it just rinses it with joy, and you feel invigorated. But you don't have to be on a plane to do it. You can be on a train, you can be on a bus, you could be starting a run. Anything where you're feeling that momentum forward, you're doing it anyway. Why don't we use it as a thought exercise to reset our emotions and put us in the mindset and the feeling of getting where we want to be. It's fun. And it helps remind you of who you really love. Okay, number 3. So I kind of lucked out on this one because I'm in one of the cleanest apartments I've ever been in my life. But when I do go back home, I'm going to take a look around and go, do I really need this much stuff? And anytime I'm in a hotel or an Airbnb or even somebody else's house who's very spare, I'm reminded that a clean and minimalist space is such a calming one. And when I really think about it, when I have the dream house that I've always wanted, when you have that dream house that you've always wanted, isn't it likely to be organized and clean and not necessarily spare and minimalist? Maybe you love super ornate settings, but I'm guessing it will be organized. It will have that feeling of refinement. We don't have to wait until we have the dream house to put that space in that order to make us feel like we're living in a version of our dream house now. And you're going to see article after article on this and how many books have become bestsellers simply by encouraging us to go through and get rid of stuff. Well, they are bestsellers because the concept works. Choose a corner of your house, choose a room of your house, choose a cabinet, and go through and organize it as though it's the cabinet in your dream home, as though it's the bedroom in your dream home, as though it's the front seat of your car in your dream car. Any space that you can organize and clean the same way you would, or that you would have your staff organize it when it's your dream space. What are we doing? Well, we know by now. We're putting ourselves in the present moment in the same feeling, mindset, energy as that of the person who's living in the dream home and the dream car now. There's no reason why you can't have the same benefit of feeling calm in an organized setting. There's no reason why you can't have that in a space you're living in, even if the space you're living in isn't your ideal. Doesn't have to happen overnight. Even if it's just a table, maybe start today. All right. Number 4. I'm stealing this one from my daughter. So Gabby, thank you. I was leaving for this trip a few days ago, and my daughter, who's also taking care of my kitty cat while I'm gone, thank you so much. Please kiss Madam Mim for me. She was also gracious enough to do the ultimate best friend deed, which is drive me to the airport. She drove me to the airport, God bless her, and even parked so she could walk me all the way in because I had quite heavy luggage. And I got out of the car, and when I pulled the suitcase out of the car, the thing just busted open, like the zipper bust. And so I start kind of freaking out because I'm like, oh my, what am I going to do, right? So I'm like unzipping it, trying to get the zipper on track. I don't know what the word is. And, things are kind of spilling out, and she's going, okay, hang on. And she helps me unzip the gusset that expands the suitcase. This is a boring story, I know. Long story long, we get it zipped back up. We get it back on track, at least to get me here to Switzerland. And when we're done, she goes, 5-star. Now, that kind of came out of nowhere, but I just started laughing when she said it. And I'm like, 5 stars? She goes, yes, that was a 5-star finish to that problem. 5-star. And I said, 5-star. And then she said, all throughout the day, Mom, when anything good happens, just go 5-star. And I loved that. I was like, yes, I'm going to do that. And I have been doing it, Gabby, every day since. It's like 5 days later. I have a nice meal. I go 5-star. I'm like using GPS and it's in German and I'm freaking out. How do I get there? And I get there, 5-star. It's cute and it's funny. Why is it one of these tips today? It doesn't matter if you're calling it 5-star. It doesn't matter if you're saying thank you out loud. When you are calling out, making note of things working out to your favor, it's only going to bring more. And again, if nothing else, remind you that abundance and good things exist in your life on a minute by minute basis. There was an Instagram post I saw once of a man recounting his daughter, a toddler, had this habit of anytime she was having like cinnamon toast and she really liked it, she would just shout out, "Happy!" She would pet a dog and go, "Happy!" And he said, what a great way to tell the universe that it's doing its job. Whatever that word is for you. Happy. 5-star. Way to go, God. Thank you. Call it out. Even if you're not shouting it out loud, call it out. And what does that do to our brain? The reticular activating system? It puts it on alert to find more good things, to find more 5 stars. Thank you, Gabs. Okay, what are we at? Number 5. Okay, we're going to do something, would love for you to start it today, called Millionaire Week. All right, Millionaire Week is when you decide to live your life this week as though you're a millionaire. But wait, Jen, you said these tips were free. Yeah, they are. I know that you have in your house right now the really good candles, the fancy ones, the kind of expensive one, maybe you got it as a gift, and you don't burn them because you're waiting for a really fancy occasion, right? The romantic dinner or Christmas Eve or something. You have either purchased or have been gifted a really lovely perfume and you are loath to run out of it because it was $100, $200, however much a bottle. So you only spray it when you really need that pick-me-up. You've got a beautiful outfit somewhere and you don't wear it either because, well, you wore it a couple of times and you don't want to repeat it too often, or you're saving it for when photos are going to be taken to publish online. I want you to discard all of those notions of rationing those things out. Because when we ration the very special things, we tell the universe quite a few messages. One, we emit the feeling and the thought to the universe that those good things only come sparingly and rarely. And that's not your truth anymore. They're coming to you in abundance. And because they're coming to you in abundance, you're going to go ahead and use those lovely things now. We also tell the universe by not using them that we don't feel that we're worthy of using them unless it's a special occasion. And that certainly is not true. Honey, you deserve to have those things every single day. So, the spa gift card that you got for your birthday last year, you're going to book that appointment now. You're going to burn the pretty candle tonight. You're going to wear that sexy perfume tomorrow. You're going to wear that amazing outfit to the grocery store. You're going to saturate this next week with the things, the experiences that you've been saving for special occasions, because your whole life now, you're declaring it, is a special occasion. And don't worry, there's more perfume, more beautiful outfits, more spa gift cards on the way. All right, next up, I'd love for you to take pen to paper when you have a few minutes. Before bed is a great one, right? Because you've already shut your to-do list down for the day. You're going to sit down with pen and paper, the old-fashioned way. I'll let you go ahead and cheat and type it out in your computer if you like. But there's so much power in writing it down. You're going to write a look at you now letter. Look at you now. This letter is from you to you. This letter is from you, circa April 2025, or whenever you're listening to this, circa now, addressing you, circa 6 months from now. Look at you now, working in your dream job. It doesn't feel like work at all. Look at you now, filled with love and optimism and hope and gratitude. Look at you now. You're the healthiest you've ever been. You're the strongest you've ever been. Look at you now. You've got love coming at you from your friends, your partner, your colleagues. You see it and feel it everywhere you go. Look at you now, surrounded by all the pretty things that you've been admiring and hoping that someday you could afford. And here they are. Look at you now. You survived so much, and now you finally get to relax. Write that letter to yourself. And as you're writing it, note how you're feeling. Because if you're feeling like it's fiction, start over in your mind and remember the person to whom you're writing is being shaped right now by the words, but more importantly, by the feelings you're feeling. You're creating future you. So write that future you a letter and make sure it's got everything in it you're intending, because it's on its way. All right. This next one is thoughts alone, and therefore a little bit easier. But it helps if you can start it at the beginning of the day, because it builds momentum throughout the day. When you wake up, take a look around you before you even get out of bed. But imagine that you're looking at your room through the eyes of someone who has very, very little in their life, little to nothing. If you suddenly found that you were a person who had been without a safe home or health or your next meal, and you were in this space right now, the one that you're in, how would you look at this space? Well, I look around and present me sees a beautiful room, simple, but set in a beautiful setting. But if I switch my lenses to someone who didn't even necessarily have a safe place to sleep tonight, my heart is bursting with gratitude. A safe bed, comfortable bedding that's going to keep me warm. The temperature is just right. There's a glass of water, clean water right here. Glasses, so when these older eyes can read, they can read better than they do without them. Here's a portal, a literal portal that I'm looking at, talking to, that will share my thoughts and feelings with people all over the world. If you didn't have any of that, how would you feel about them now? Now, ask yourself that as you're making coffee, eating breakfast, getting in the car, going to work, talking to people, reading literature. If you'd never had a day of schooling in your life and suddenly could read the words on the paper, how would you react? Do that all throughout the day, and you will be reminded how much more grateful you have the opportunity to be, minute by minute by minute. This isn't about beating yourself up because you're not grateful right now. I know that you are. But by readjusting, or better yet, removing the film from your lens to see it with clarity, to see it with the maximum gratitude that we really can have, that's a game changer. You might actually become addicted to that, looking at things anew, so that simple pleasures, that first sip of that coffee, it tastes so much better. Okay, number 8. So I thought of this one as I was on one of my walks and I'm listening to people talking, passing by. Usually when we kind of half eavesdrop, when people walk by, usually they're talking in our own language. So we hear their words and then our brain processes those words to interpret what they're trying to convey. Well, I only speak English and a smidgen of Spanish. And it's interesting, I've heard quite a number of languages while I'm here, but German, very common. When I hear those words, they just kind of float in my brain because I can't translate them. And I thought, what if instead of going throughout the day and hearing people say negative things, which we all do if we work in a public setting, if we go to a big family dinner, I mean, any interaction, even things that you read online, right? There's so much negativity out there. Instead of saying, well, I'm just going to ignore that, can we imagine that we're listening to a foreign language? Your brain's still going to try to process those words. But what it will do is help remind you that those words are just words. And the fact that they are in your native tongue, your brain catches it, translates it really quickly. But can we pause and go, foreign language, bummer, can't interpret that one. Well, now you're adjusting your radio dial to where you're only taking in frequencies that are positive and rejecting the ones that are negative. And if you love that idea, let's take it a step further and declare one day a week. You know how some people do meat-free Monday? Well, you're doing negativity-free day. Could be Monday, whatever day you like. And on that day, you're simply not letting negative words come out of your mouth. And when you hear it from other people, it's a foreign language to you that day. When the more we do that, the more it becomes habit. And habits can be good too. Number 9. I've mentioned this one before, but I'm going to drop this one in here. A, because I think it's a good one. And B, I want to remind you to do it if you haven't gotten to it yet. And that is, you are going to make your Boss Babe playlist. I did a whole live stream about this once, and I had quite a few people sign up to get a Spotify version of my own. I call it my empowerment playlist. And I'm happy to send it to you. If you want to DM me, I can send it to you. It has a lot of profanity in it. So be aware. But everybody I know has at least a handful of songs that make you feel like, pardon my language, a badass. Like you listen to that music and it's all you can do not to stand up and dance. If you're in the car, you crank it up high. And if I had sensors, biofeedback on your scalp, it would just read that like all these neurons are firing and you feel great, right? Go back, please, and put at least 6 of those songs on a playlist. And whether you're working out, you're driving to work, you're making dinner, throw the AirPods in, tell everybody, look, I'm listening to something important, right? It is important. And shut the world out and listen to that empowerment playlist and see if that doesn't take your needle from feeling okay to feeling great. How does this affect manifestation? Now, come on, if you're asking this, then I'm going to ask you to go back and listen to some of the other podcasts again, because we know that when we feel better, more than half the time, it shifts your entire life toward what you want. In other words, what you're thinking doesn't necessarily have to be directly related to the dream job, the life partner, the money, the fancy car. Feeling better lifts up that goal to be more in tune with your positive frequency because it's a positive thing. And they come together. All right. That brings us to number 10. And thank you for listening this far. And I hope you've made note of a few that you want to implement. But if you implement none of them, I hope that you hang on to this one. Remember, there is absolutely no reason at all, never was, never will be, no reason whatsoever why what you want can't be yours. I'm going to say it again. There is no reason whatsoever that what you are trying to attract to yourself cannot be attracted to you. It, whatever it is you want, wants you just as badly as you want it. It's waiting for you to get into the right frequency, for you to get into alignment with it. And it can't wait to be yours. And I know that there are so many things that on paper look like reasons to prevent you from having it. They aren't reasons, my friend. Those are simply obstacles. Obstacles that when you approach them and go like this, with your positive mindset, with your belief, and with your actions, they blow apart like ashes. Those obstacles weren't as strong as you ever thought. And you can affirm this for yourself if you need to by looking through history books and reading the stories of people who have risen from less than nothing, from war-torn nations, from being on the brink of death, from being in the depths of despair. People like that who haven't just overcome those obstacles, they blew right through them and became everything they aspired to be. There's no reason why you can't have or do or be or experience anything you desire. And when you hold fast to that belief, my friend, and you feel it more than you don't, and there'll be times when you still feel like you don't, but when you feel like it can be yours more than you feel like it can't, that's when the world starts to change through the mirror of your being. I hope you implement maybe just one of the 10 free manifestation accelerators that I gave to you, and I'd love to hear from you if you've got more to share. Please hit the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube, or follow if you're on any of the other podcast platforms, and I'll see you next week. Have a great one.